We are back and ready for the final game of the night. I tell you what, Bliss absolutely smashing it there in game number 1, and they're ready to showcase that. Look, today was the day where it looked like it was the case of the big dogs will prevail. It was maybe the very first series of the night was a little bit shaky. This one is certainly looking to be a little bit more expected.
Very expected from everything. The draft, perhaps a little bit of a spanner with that Viego coming out of the 5th pick, but besides that, a very standard Bliss affair. They have the control mage in the mid lane, they have the support playmaking coming out of Scott, and to link it all together, it's the glue that is Why Not. Really feels like he's come into his own with the empowerment of his team behind him, and has just been taking over game after game.
Certainly has. So let's see then if they can look to try and take over for one final time tonight, or if Kanga still have some more tricks up their sleeves. What is left in the tank for them to first of all reveal, but then feel comfortable enough to actually display on stage. We mentioned before the stakes be it that they need any single point they can get, but Bliss just seem to be in such fine form that it is easier said than done. We talked about the Azir potentially flexing into the Veigar as a counter to give across, but with blue side priority, say it's just too good of a champion.
Yeah, too good of a champion. Ryu Fury is just too comfortable on this pick to give it over. I think that he really values this champion so far, has been his #1 kind of go-to default pick. And it will be just the same response here, at least in the first pick from Team Bliss. The Varus that worked in the hands of Violet, kind of a quiet achiever in game 1, not really popping off and taking over like we're so used to seeing from Violet. But so far, it looks like we're having a bit of a salty run back here for game 2.
It really does feel that way, doesn't it? Nothing has changed whatsoever this far. And even Scott saying this series is so boring. Can we just wrap it up and give us the perfect 2-0 right here and now? I guess the question then becomes for Kanga, do we switch it up here? Is this where we draw the line and say, something has to change? It cannot be as simple as saying, we just played poorly, let's run it back. So let's see then. Knowing that Aatrox is banned in the second phase, they decide to lock it in right now.
Interesting. So it's going to be this Aatrox blind pick here, which does give Biopanther the freedom to potentially whip out a counter pick before the bans come through and have his time in that lane. However, it will be interesting to see what Kanga prioritizes for the AD carry pool. It is always a hard ask going up against the Varus, but the Kalista is certainly something that could be brought out. Very aggressive pick, needs to get on top of this Varus early and shut him down from the second the minions meet in that lane.
Makes it interesting though, because the Renata pairing is certainly the premier choice, but going into the second phase of the bans, they surely got to be prepared. This is most likely going to be either taken away or banned. And that's exactly what Bliss are thinking too, right? They're going to say, no Kalista fun. It's going to be that in terms of the Varus. That'll share all the love here tonight.
Yeah, the Kalista Renata being denied is quite big from the side of Bliss. Not only that, but they'll take it themselves. So also kind of limits the pairings that can come through from this Kalista, right? We know that when Kalista doesn't have Renata, she loves to play with something that's aggressive. She loves to play with something that can get up and CC the enemy down while she throws those spears into them. But something like a Nautilus, something like an Alistar feel really hard to play against this Renata, who is kind of designed to be a counter pick to those champions. So it'll be interesting to see what Kurak does go for with this pool continually getting pinched by Bliss.
Is there ever a world, Max, in which we get one of these two options, be it the Pike? Ah, there it is! It just gets banned away. I was wondering.
Right as you say it.
My only other option would have been perhaps the Maokai, but it feels pretty rough into like an Enchanter matchup where you're just getting completely outranged.
Yeah, Maokai would be pretty rough here. I mean, still could be flexed to the jungle if that's something that Kanga wants to pull out. But you're absolutely right. The double range makes it so hard of a laning phase. You're only really worth it if you can find the successful engage, and after that, you're not really providing too much value whatsoever. So it's going to be the Cassante once again from Team Bliss on 4. They really love this blind pick. Well, not even a blind pick here, but early picking the Cassante and dropping that 5th pick for the jungle. So why not going to have a lot of freedom to pick whatever he wants as Kanga look to round out their draft. There's the Maokai, like you said. Still a bit of a question mark as to where it actually will end up though.
Yeah, that is the one that's still got me scratching my head. They hovered the Blitzcrank before, which would be the, my opinion, the better option for this. But with the Udyr now being looked at, you're thinking this may just be Maokai in the bot lane. So we've Certainly clocked this one. We can give ourselves a pat on the back for that. But the Udia coming back again. It feels like a run back with a tweak here and there. And then the Kindred,
There we go.
which is what you really wanted to see in game one.
Yeah, this is a why not staple, right? When he gets the 5th pick, when he gets a counter pick and he sees a farming tanky jungler and a tanky composition on the enemy team, he will not hesitate to pick this. Right now, he has a fantastic team to prepare him for that as well, right? He's got this Orianna who he can link with. He's got a Cassante to buy him frontline. And amongst all that as well, he has the Renata on top of him. So a really nice kind of protect the Kindred team comp from Bliss. On the other side, Kanga have a bot lane who needs to get aggressive early. They've got a solo lanes that are fine scaling or fine skirmishing in the mid lane as well. But really, it's this bot lane that's going to be the key to their success here. If this Maokai falls behind, much like you mentioned, he is going to be pretty hard to pilot in this game. So can Rilla and Kurak have the aggression that they need to, or will they fall behind to this bot lane powerhouse of Violet and Scott?
That really is the major concern that we're bringing up right now, because for sure, if given a chance, you expect the lethality Varus once again. Would not be amiss to see them go for the on-hit, especially when you do have that attack speed steroid available to be used. But I mean, there's something about this Maokai bot lane where you're thinking, sure, you've got the Kalista that can drag you back, you know, chuck you back in. You've got this fantastic engage potential, but it'll be all for nothing if you're not tanky enough. And I feel like really all you're going to be able to try and get as a luxury item would be like a frozen heart, if that. And then you're really praying that you've got you know, enough tankiness to at least utilize your full combo.
That's what it will come down to here from the side of this bot lane. Really high risk, high reward strategy picked here for Kanga, but with their backs against the wall and really getting demolished in game one, they needed to change something up, and hopefully this is the adaptation that they are looking for. We'll find out as we load into the Rift for game 2.
For the final time tonight, it's time to load in to the Rift to see how this series does conclude. Team Bliss already secure for playoffs and already 1-0 up in this series. A single win here now would guarantee that first seed is looking ever more likely. As for Kanga, they are really hoping that the run back with a few tweaks here and there is the difference maker, and that they can look to try and emulate their early game success.
Keep in mind that early game success all hinged around Invictus, so that's going to be the one to keep your eyes on as this game goes further on. You can see that this Udia is very good at clearing. He's a very fast full clear with that double Phoenix stance if he's able to get that off. Meanwhile, Why Not drops a cheeky little ward onto the blue buff level 1. So Kindred is a champion who's always willing to get invade. He always wants to look to kind of farm those marks as early as possible. And with this one spotted, he will be able to find out where Invictus is starting and have a good indication of his path.
Yeah, it's always a fascinating champion, especially from a jungle position, right? When champions can look to try and scale, and you can see that sort of high risk, high reward, that sort of min-maxing, if you will, of should I go for this mark or not? I want to try and evolve my skill set and make my champion even stronger, but at the same time, not grief myself in the process. Let's keep a keen eye on this bot lane. Obviously, the saplings become so impactful for making sure that Scott can not just step up and constantly harass them. But it's not going to give them any kind of priority to hit level 2.
That's the thing. Maokai is basically completely useless level 1, right? You really need to have that level 3 or level 2, I guess, depending on what you come through before you can start fighting. But as a result of that, it means that Blitz are going to have complete control over these first couple waves. And with a Varus into Kalista matchup early on, if you're getting pushed into your turret, if you're getting harassed like this, it's really not how you want the laning phase to be going. And Why Not taking advantage of the fact that he knows where Invictus is starting to potentially find him on this red buff here. Keep in mind there is only a ghost available for Invictus. No flash to suddenly get out of dodge. And he's going to be found.
He certainly is going to be found. It's all on Scott now to hit this handshake, and he misses it, but then Why Not flashes over and says, I really want this kill, I really need this mark, but will not find it. And a lot of that just stems from, first of all, understanding the pathing, but then having your bot lane priority so you can just freely rotate to assist and force Invictus away.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Violet is just feeling happy as Larry hitting these turret plays. He's already picked up one for himself, as you can see down towards that bot lane. But a nice heads-up invade there. Unfortunately, because the handshake doesn't land, the kill will not be secured. But nonetheless, Why Not on this Kindred already? You can see the aggressiveness that he is playing with. He wants to force Invictus off. He wants to make sure this Udia isn't able to get the full clear hit his eyes, but Scott's been found.
That's a fantastic bit of patience there as the Bellet comes through and instantly Reeler flash cleansing away to safety. There will be no chance to survive. And what really was such a calm, confident position for the Bliss bot lane to play from, as soon as level 3's there, it completely changes.
Huge play there from Kurak. Takes advantage of Scott not having cleanse. He might even be looking here for Violet. Invictus has found him as well. Flash out.
What a flash with the twisted advance afterwards. Kurak has played that one exceptionally well. If not for that pesky tower there to try and zone them away from another kill, they would have completely taken a double.
Yeah, smart pathing from Invictus to come back towards that bot side there. Forces out the summoner spells from Violet. And once again, Kanga having a decent early game, right? It's a nice little play there onto Scott, kind of taking advantage of a window where Bliss fall asleep at the wheel a little bit, not respecting the damage to come out from Kanga. And that will result in first blood going over. But meanwhile, why not? Feeling so good about all the counter jungling he's able to do while his bot lane buys time. And Skimmy, we've been hit with another pause.
No, say it ain't so, not again. This may be one of the days where we've had the most in a row. I feel like somebody, maybe a diehard LCO fan out there, could count the day that's been the biggest offender. But unfortunately, we do find ourselves in another one. And hopefully it's nothing anywhere near as severe as when we had the Limas pause, which forced us to then go through the pain and punishment of guessing the ornaments.
Nothing like that again, please. I don't think I'm cut out for more guessing ornaments. I think there are too many words that I've already learned today, and I don't need to be learning anymore. But
it just makes you feel dumb, really, at the end of the day, doesn't it?
It does.
You don't understand the English language. You don't know what these fancy words all mean. It's like, a spelling bee where we're all getting roasted.
Not much fun. Unfortunately for Invictus, that early game invade as well, meaning he's not having much fun either in that jungle. Why not just very aggressive on this Kindred, using the fact that he has priority to his advantage? And, it's just one of those things with pathing that you will learn as a jungler later on in your competitive career, is how influential the lane states are to your jungling. And luckily, the pause is not too long at all. We're right back into the action.
Thankfully for everybody involved, we're straight back into the action. So let's see how this bot lane continues to take place, because we mentioned it quite early on into this one, right? Obviously, you want to be quite aggressive as the Renata to try and zone them away, utilizing your double ranged advantage, not into another pause. Make it not. Make it stop. But then Maokai finds a way to try and get the aggression and pounce upon it. I really hope they can find more opportunities like that once level 6 comes around, right? When the Nature's Grasp is there, you can just fully all in, especially with Invictus having a bit of an infinity towards the spot lane.
Well, I think that's going to be the big question, and that's going to really decide how the tempo of this game goes, because if you are this Kalista Maokai and you are able to continually push the pace, continually take advantage of times where the bot lane doesn't have summoners, then you can actually get this Kalista into a point where she's very happy in the mid game. She's scaled quite well, got those kills and put them towards the items that enable her to be slightly ahead of the curve, because the last thing that you want is a Kalista who is even or behind heading into this Varus in the late game, right? That's really the issue, especially since Violet is running the on-hit variant. He will be feeling very happy to stand and deliver, especially with a Renata behind him, into a Kalista. So it's really going to be onto Kurak and Reeler to continue pushing the pace, continue pushing the tempo, and hopefully keep finding gaps in the seemingly impervious armor of Bliss.
Well, that is the case, right? Because we've obviously been talking pretty extensive lengths about this bot lane, but you've got to take stock check of the rest of the map as well, right? Obviously, top lane has been the only real variation in that the Aatrox was let through, so instantly that gets snapped up there by Woodon. Does it look any better for the matchup? Because it seems like a classic case of you rush the anti-heal as the Cassante, and the Aatrox tends to cry.
Bramble Vest certainly a really nice pickup there. You also have a decent bit of solo kill threat once you do eventually work your way towards that Iceborne Gauntlet. If that is what Biopanther wants to go for here. Oh, we can see in terms of solo kill threat, I mean, this mid lane, it feels like this matchup has just not been going well for Ryu Fury today already. He's down 20 CS to Hayri's Orianna. Just brutal in this mid lane, and a really Shockwave comes out as well.
Perfect casting there from yourself, mate. Brutal was the absolute word of the moment, given that that Shockwave was nearly enough to get the kill, as Kurak is looking for the twisted advance, and Scott gives him the handshake to say, no ganks today, please. We know your jungler's there, and we're not interested in it.
Not interested at all, but the Team Bliss bot lane does seem to be interested in where
What's happening here?
Invictus is going, and I think for Fury, he wants to get the XP to tick over to 6 and potentially look for a shuffle play here onto Hayri. Although I'm not sure that he actually can make one happen. I'm pretty sure he dies to a QW, but just bides his time there, waits enough to get Hayri to walk away and then comes in to collect the CS. So making sure that whilst he is at a deficit, he is still somewhat not completely out of this game yet.
Well, that's it. It hasn't really changed much from game 1 to 2 in terms of how this matchup has played out for him. Henry has really demonstrated his experience and taken a commanding lead. Double the CS, only 6 minutes in. It's a bit of a telling story at this point. And I feel like Invictus really does have his work cut out for him. Not only do you have to take stock of where Wynot's at, how many marks he has, you've got to then say, well, do I bet at mid lane? Do I look to try and put my attention towards bot lane? Or do we actually utilize Kurak to act as a second jungler as the Hex flashes across in to try and gank?
Really nice play there. It really destabilizes the lane now with Hayri not having flash. He can certainly feel a fair bit more scared when he's playing against the turret of Ryu Fury. A shuffle now is a very serious possibility, especially with that Emperor's Divide coming through for Ryu Fury. So just a really heads-up play here from Kurak, who's honestly been impressing me all week so far, Skimmy.
Has been his week, hasn't it? Certainly the stand-up player from my mind, with creative champions and a solid understanding as the scoop finally happens onto Harry. He's got no flash, he's copped the tower shot, and a self-cast of the shockwave is just not enough. As Invictus is there to save the Azir.
Assist pings being spammed here on the mid lane, and Wynot has found Ryu Fury.
It may just run him down. It may just be as simple as that. 4 marks are already complete, and the retribution for his fallen teammate.
Retribution indeed, and now a Kindred who is looking very scary. Only has, actually, is that 4 marks now?
Yep.
4 marks, which is very decent at this stage in the game, especially for how quiet this affair has been so far. As skirmishing's on bot lane, the ult is out from Kalista.
Certainly is out as they chuck it back in. Violet with this on-attack build is looking to absolutely go crazy with the Bella. Comes across, the cleanse is there, the flash and the Bramble Smash, which may have been lethal. Mechanics maxing, ultraviolet time as he gets the double.
You might be good, you might be having your week, Kurak, but Violet is better. He just shows up. That on-hit Varus just firing so much damage into the side of Reela. And it's really the bailout that is the clutch factor there. He goes down initially, but has enough damage to get the kill, reset him, and pick up a clean double.
Let's get that clean double, gets that reset on the passive as well. The attack speed was going crazy with it to make sure that he wasn't going to fall victim to the deceivingly low HP, but why not? Having been a bit of a menace here, is going to take on the 1v2 as the Lamb's Respite to use to get himself out of harm's way. Shockwave is not available right now as Ryu runs away, but why not? Dashing across the wall to get the kill. Reela's had enough of bot lane and he's acting as a jungler as well. He's going to come to the fight too. And it's going to be Invictus acting as a pseudo mid laner as the fight also breaking out top lane. The entire team from top to bot all wanting to have a bit of a scrap now.
Yeah, everyone's fighting here, but ultimately it will be the kill going over into the hands of Wynot and then traded back to Reela, who does have to use the flash and also has to dodge the handshake here, but he doesn't.
Nice handshake. That's a lot of damage afterwards as Kurak goes in, and I think he's going to regret that one. He goes berserk. Even does Reela as he tries to kill his teammate. They're both on 20%. And there is no one coming to help.
No one's coming to help because everyone's too busy fighting their own battles here, Skimmy. You can see Ryu Fury is down 45 CS at 10 minutes for Hayri. This CS gap just keeps getting wider every time we look at mid lane, it feels. And it's so tricky. You're losing bot lane, you're losing mid lane just in the pure lanes. No jungle interference required. Invictus has such a hard task of trying to save this, but even he is getting bullied by this Kindred.
It certainly is. It's a tough life for a jungler to try and operate in this one. You want to get ahead yourself, but you need to assist all your teammates that are pinging for the attention to help them out. We'll start it off with this play again with initially Wynot getting caught out.
Wynot does get found out by Kurak here, but Ryu Fury isn't the strongest on this Azir, so Wynot feels quite comfortable turning it around. And Ryu Fury thinks he's escaped there with the Shurima Shuffle, but fortunately for him, Wynot does have the flash. Reela will trade it over as Hayri has just solo killed Ryu Fury.
It felt like the writing was on the wall for a very long time. It felt like it's really the combination of what we were to expect. The fight starts in the bot lane, and Violet, the bailer, this time is just not going to be enough. Scott flashes the safety, but finally all that perseverance and patience to get that kill in the bot lane. They get their just dessert, and as it stands, it's looking like Scott is going to be an easy double, as they will just simply look to go for the tower dive. In comes the TP from Harry. He's got no shockwave, he burnt it in the kill before. There is the final nail in the coffin for the Ren to explode to get that one. And with the Nature's Grasp, they've run out of juice.
Yeah, this Kalista Maokai actually being put to good value there, forcing out the initial kill, as well as the summons onto Scott, and then looking for the redive. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, like we saw before, just a pure solo kill. Harry is just purely just dominating Rhea Fury in this 1v1. It feels very hard for City to do anything. And why not towards this top lane? To be a bit of a risky dive, as Widon is so tanky. So why not instead is going to opt to clear some camps here. But Kurak, once again, just so mobile around this map, always where he needs to be, and will dissuade this Gromp take.
Yeah, he's been really keen to try and find matters elsewhere. It has meant that Rilla's life has been a little bit more difficult. He's got to really sidestep this handshake. He's put himself in a precarious situation, but he's done that one beautifully. Oh. But the piercing arrow is not enough. And, well, ultimately, it's Harry that says, well, that's my life in the bot lane done, boys. Thank you very much.
That damage from Harry is just absurd. He does have to commit the flash, though, so potentially a little bit vulnerable for the next bit. But Archangel's once again going to be the first buy here for this Orianna. A lot of safety offered while still packing a ton of damage, so the question does become, how do you kill him? As Bipanther's trying to figure out how to kill Wudon.
He's looking for it. The World Ender is active. He's got that leech, but it does not matter. He grabs him right back, ticks over to level 11, and has his way with it. And the Shockwave on cooldown now being used. And it just feels like to me, Max, that we've got another quick game on our hands. We've not even mentioned the fact that 6 of those Void Grubs are being picked up, so whenever these kills happen, those towers are just going to fall on down.
They just melt at this point. You can see Rhea Fury forced out of lane once again as Invictus and Kurak have to come hover just to prevent Harry from taking this tower, really. Nothing more than that. As Kurak jumps in, though.
He's gone in, but I don't think that's the fight you're really looking for on this occasion. You've got a very low Invictus, not keen to really interact on that front. It's a flash away. It's a chain of corruptions to try and guarantee that that pick was going to be an actuality. And all it's really done is guarantee that the tower they are hunting for will fall down.
Yeah, they'll secure the turret here, also walk into the bot side jungle, get some more vision and more camps for this Kindred, who's already 20 CS up in a very comfortable position, and will turn towards this second dragon. So 4,000 gold is the lead. Looking good for Bliss here in game 2.
Really is. Second dragon, easy as you like it, as they can look to really assert themselves in different positions now. Harry actually going to take the 1v1 into Woodon, as Biopanther gets a chance to flip the map on its head, rotate down to bot lane. The Shockwave comes out, the chains to try and dissuade him from going much further, because they've set up a trap. The entire army of Kanga are here to shut Harry down. The Hex Slash across the wall, the TP to come in from Bio, as he gets told, we should have just stayed at top lane in the first place, but if Kanga bitten off more than they can chew, the very slow hostile takeover comes across, hits nothing in the end. That's not going to look to try and change the outcome of this one. Curate goes inside the Lamb's Respite, walks out for a second, cops the hill, but it does not matter. Fury is going to try and salvage something, but he's just going to walk into the tower. What is going on?
I have no idea what that was. Skimmy, Fury just kind of having a bit of fun with it at the end. It's such a desperate situation for Kanga. They can feel the game slipping further and further out of their control. Nice little bait there by Wudon to actually get Harry into this compromised position. You can see that all of the members of Kanga are collapsing up towards the top side while this fight is happening. So he knows he just has to play with Harry, not go down. Unfortunately, he does have to expend the flash, but that is completely fine because they managed to get on Harry in response, right? That's kind of the #1 target that they do want. He goes down, but then all the members of Team Bliss are here to clean up.
They certainly are, and at this point they're in such a poor position that it's the case of they rock up first, and they rock up into another fight, out of the replay, into the action, into another kill for that man in the bot lane. 3 kills to his name right now, and we're not stopping there, we're still hunting for extra blood. 11 kills on the board, soon to be 12 as Invictus falls on down, and Why Not must be on so many stacks right now. He was on 4 just a minute ago. He'll have his way with this game. Up to 7 now, and with Azir marked, he's ready to take him because he's got nowhere to go. He's going to try and TP out to safety. And this time he will be successful.
Yeah, just make it out there with the TP will Ryu Fury, but like you said, this Kindred is becoming very scary with 7 marks and the Kraken Slayer online as well. Just provides so much damage to stand and deliver on top of the already insane amount you have coming from this Varus and Orianna. So really it becomes a case of there's not just one carry, not even just 2 carries, but really 3 that you have to worry about from the side of Kanga in a team fight because of all the damage that they're pumping out. So a very tall task here as Bliss have started up this Rift Herald here. Out comes the Maokai ultimate.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp burnt very early on, so much so that it's enough to actually zone away Team Bliss. The hostile takeover comes on to Relay. He doesn't do enough damage to actually really threaten his own teammates. The Herald gets stolen away after Invictus thought they had to retake. The flash shockwave to say goodbye. And Scott guarantees that he is locked in place for that one to hit successfully. And the heist is well and truly complete.
That was a 70 HP Herald that got smited there by Wynot as Scott is getting caught out here.
Yeah, it's the patient play of that one. Scott, unfortunately, is in a situation where the bailout works in his favor. Thank you very much to your teammates there. Curate gets chucked right back into the belly of the beast. And even then realizes, I'm level 7. I just don't want to be here right now, guys. Really forced the flash. The tower's in shambles. Invictus hiding out of vision, waiting for Wynot to go for the face check. But the Phoenix Flames, certainly not enough to threaten him back.
Not much is available to actually threaten the side of Team Bliss back. They're so strong. Their control is so dominant now that it feels like wherever they go, doom for Kanga will surely follow. You can see there, even getting shoved under the turret isn't enough to kill the support of Team Bliss because the bailout is enough to come through. And it's really at a point where this Azir isn't even in the same stratosphere as Orianna.
That is, yeah, not a pretty sight to see when Scott, the support, is more fed than the enemy mid laner. Not very often you tend to see that kind of stat, but that is just where we're at right now. Hayri has played this series, I don't want to say flawlessly because there's definitely been some errors, but it very much feels that way.
It feels crushing, I think, is the best way to describe the way that he's played this game. I think that Ryu Fury certainly is going to be sitting for a while just contemplating this series, because from the lane phase, it just felt like there was not a single chance given to this Azir. Hayri just dominated him at every single department, really. He might be looking to go again now, as the shockwave is just out of range there, but Wynot wants to continue pursuing.
He's on the hunt. He's being given the attack speed, so he says, I've lost vision for a second, and maybe that's enough to let you away on this occasion. Very deep TP, as the observers demonstrate Wooden coming in from the right-hand side, but the fight's really breaking out in the jungle, and that's where Team Bliss look to excel. As Violet gets that first kill, they turn their attention towards Invictus near the bottom there, and that gets picked up by Hayri. And from top to bottom, their members are just so fed that Kanga have nowhere to go. They're just stuck inside their base.
Stuck inside their base. You can see Wudon TP'd here, but isn't actually able to make anything of it. You can see now with the Herald being summoned, he will eventually base, so just a tragedy here as the gold lead just surpasses 10k rather. Ryu Fury going down once again as this army of Void Grubs plus the Herald is taking down the bot lane turret.
It's too much. It really is the 6th member on their team right now. They have an army of Voidlings ready to get done in bot and mid, and those inhibitors are dead to rights right now. A bit of desperation to try and get rid of Wynot, but he's undeterred by this one. You're waiting for that shockwave to be up in the next 10 seconds. And look to see what Hayri can conjure up this time here as that base completely shattered. Only the top lane now left to try and put a bow on things, but they can disengage away to safety with 2 dragons to the name already. The 3rd one right there on their doorstep, but the Baron has just spawned. I mean, this really does feel like a shellacking.
A shellacking is a good way to describe it. I don't really know what Kanga can look for here as Hayri just 1v5, standing alone in the mid lane here. Complete confidence. And like you said, the Baron is going to be the next objective, if for no other reason then that it is next mark for Wynot. He wants to continue scaling on this Kindred, and it will be in the sights here. I don't think Kanga can do anything but watch as this is taken for Bliss.
Yeah, wanting to be able to have that luxury as they have no vision. Obviously we do, but they don't know what is going on. That has to be expected. I think the silver lining or the second prize for them would be, can we deny away the soul point? Can we at least get some form of saving face here? because this game has been very one-sided. Yes, we've had a few kills in particular here for Relab, but this game has been far from close. They're going to look to try and put a bow on things now. 9 stacks of the mark here for the Kindred. So much range, so much damage as they look to try and now take that final inhibitor.
Fury has made a flanking TP here. This is going to be a last desperation play for the start of Kanga.
And they jump then, look to try and take down Violet. The shove back knocks down 4, but is it enough? It doesn't seem to be that way right now as they dance inside that Lamb's Respite. It's not going to provide them any kind of immunity. It is the clean ace without Kurak falling on down. One is going to run him down and make sure that the ace graphic does in fact pop up on our screen. But he may be denied as the team actually TP'd and say, give us that ace before we end this game. Might be a bit of a race between him and his team as they say, forget that one. End it right here and now.
The rest of Bliss will take pity on Kurak, but they certainly did not for those 2 games. Just from the start to finish, it really felt like Bliss were a completely different caliber of team as we see Why Not hopping around. A sight for sore eyes, I'd imagine. But Bliss continue to show us why they are the best team in the LCO.
That they certainly are. All the action broken down right after this break.